Hello, I'd like to call to order our January 18th, 2024 meeting. And we will begin tonight with the invocation by Mrs. Kraft.
Thank you. So we will be celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday on Monday, even though his birthday was the 15th. Well, I guess we did celebrate it on Monday, didn't we? Sorry. My days are running. Anyway, he was an American Christian minister, an activist, and a political philosopher who was one of the most prominent leaders in the civil movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968. He was a black church leader, a son of early civil rights activist and minister Martin Luther King Sr. King, who advanced civil rights for people of color in the United States through the use of nonviolent resistance and nonviolent civil disobedience against Jim Crow laws and other forms of discrimination in the United States. Many famous quotes and speeches are attributed to Dr. King, but this one resonates in our world. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Thank you.
Okay. And next, Dr. Durham will come up and get us going with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and our school spotlight tonight is Currituck County High School, and Dr. Justin Durham, our principal, will begin.
Well, good evening, Madam Chair, distinguished board members, Dr. Lutz, Mrs. Dowdy, cabinet members, and support. I'm bringing you greetings from Currituck County High School. On today, I'm going to introduce one of our AP teachers, Mrs. Rubino, and we have brought a wonderful, wonderful assortment of students to come and kind of speak to you about our advanced placement program. I'm very, very, very proud of the AP program that we have at Currituck County High School. On last year, we had over 70% of all students who took an AP course to receive a 3 or higher, which gives them an opportunity to receive college credit. So our teachers and what they do, and I see Mr. Griffin is here as well, who's also an AP teacher, what they do and the time that they put in, it is tremendous, and it is something that is needed, and I hope that they continue all their work. I've got Ms. Fields here with me as well. One of my APs is Mr. McCullough and Ms. Mauer are not here, but the work that they do and the support that they give to the school and to this community, I can't say enough about, and I want to shout that on the rooftop of the job that they're doing. So right now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Rubino, and then she's going to lead our spotlight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. It's great to see everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to present a little bit about our AP program. I'm going to start off by putting in a slideshow so that we can visually show you some of the wonderful things that we have going on. I'd like to introduce the students that we have brought today. I have Addison Daniels, and as I call, come on up, Brooklyn Stratton, Kendra Daniels, Emma Bearfield, Will Craddock, Kylie Dinnerman, and Riley Parker. These are just a few of the AP students, and a lot of times the AP students take multiple AP classes across the board. And what we're seeing overwhelmingly, not just as a need for our AP students, but a need academically across the board, is a need for students to understand how to investigate an issue or a problem and develop an argument that is evidence supported. And that is interdisciplinary across anything, whether they're enrolling, enlisting, or employing. In terms of the AP and the focus that we're looking at, a lot of our cross-curricular connections that are happening, we're going to focus on the AP capstone AP Lang and Composition and AP Art tonight and tell you a little bit about that. But I do want to say that we lean in heavily with all of our AP teachers. So I can't do AP Capstone without AP Statistics, AP Bio, AP Literature, AP Push, AP Gov, etc., etc. All that AP teaching community comes together to help support overall AP learning, and it has been a fantastic experience. And before I get carried away, I am going to mention that after the AP testing in May, we are going to be having a collaborative AP showcase for the first time at Currituck High School in the spring. So as soon as exams are ending, we're going to make it an all-day festival for kids to come through and see what we're doing, and we're going to be inviting board and our central office staff and the community to come in and parents to see what the AP is doing in the spring as well. So put that on your calendars, that's upcoming. All right, so in terms of AP Capstone, just to give brief information, 2 cornerstone courses. It was developed by AP in response to collegiate needs on post-secondary success in research. So it came about with 2 cornerstone classes, seminar and research. Seminar teaches our kids little R research skills, where they investigate a problem or an issue that is exploring sources that exist in the scholarly body of knowledge already. So they learn to look at a variety of sources, podcasts, books, academics, arts, music, treat them as a text, come up with a research question, a solution through their research. They team and they present their findings. And so that's our little research. Big R research happens in the AP research program, and that's 100% student-driven research. They formulate a topic of interest. They have to identify a gap in the scholarly body of knowledge that's not been researched, and they facilitate. I work as a facilitator. They do 100% of the process themselves. But again, we team with all the AP teachers in the community to help that happen. So the big thing is that the Quest framework for AP Capstone is applicable across all AP classes. And the Quest simply stands for students learn to question, understand, explore, synthesize, and then team and transmit information. So there's 2 avenues with the AP Capstone. Students can get an AP Capstone certificate where they achieve in both the seminar and the research, and they get the certificate. If they want the full-on AP Capstone diploma, they need to achieve in the seminar class and the research class, as well as 4 other AP classes of their choice. And so that's a little groundwork on the capstone program, but I'm going to let the students take over from this point because it's better to hear it from their lips on what's going on. So I'm going to turn it over. Kendra Daniels.
Hi, I'm Kendra Daniels. So for AP seminar, we, like Mr. Bino was saying, we focus on the little R research. So we use different stimulus materials, which are the podcasts, the research papers, books, all that stuff like that. And we form research questions that we go into on our own or with a team, depending on which part we are on. And this is important for developing the skills that we'll need in college and going on even with collaboration between other people that we will work with. And yeah.
And then from seminar, we gain the knowledge of the research project through a basic unit. So we started the year out by learning all the basic skills about researching topics, creating like annotated bibliographies and that kind of stuff. And we developed it into a research report. And then we did like a mock presentation for that. And now we are analyzing an array of stimulus materials to identify themes and lenses that support a topic that's going to move into teamwork. So once we work with the team and the stimulus, that's when we create the research question, and then we figure out like what type of solution is going to come from that question. And that's when you create the presentation and the paper that both gets presented for College Board, and that's where the grade comes from. And there's also an individual part to all of that. So it all comes together to create a project and a presentation. And it, like Kendra was saying, it really does help you like learning skills, not just for the class, but it really helps you like in the real world and going on to gain your skills for future jobs in college.
So, this is an example of an annotated bibliography that I had to do with Miss Rubino. So we were just randomly picking topics just to practice annotated bibs. And this was the first one, and you can see it's color-coded. She made that so that we would be able to easily break it down and we'd know what to do. I'd never done an annotated bib to this degree before, even though I've taken several English classes. Like, I've never done anyone to this degree. And this is important because especially if you want to go into a career involving a lot of research, you got to know how to do this. You got to figure out how to look at sources, get the gist of the source, be able to cite it properly. That is very important. And I did not know how to do this until I took AP seminar.
So this is just an example of a team presentation. That's not gonna work. So in the presentation, there'll be different images that have like graphs or other things that can support your topic. And like this on the screen is an example of a topic: population growth influence on environmental deterioration. So when you get your topic, then you can create a question. And from that question, you use the presentation with images and graphs to support what would be your solution to the topic. So once you find the question, which was how it affects population growth, then you make like supporting reasons, and then that leads to your solution in the end. So the presentation is just a visual way to address everything that you're learning.
So jumping in, Ms. Person couldn't be here this evening, so I did want to talk that she and I are working closely right now with AP Seminar and AP Lang and Composition, and we actually selected a text that our students would jointly read. And so we're reading Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Kimmerer. And so my stimulus materials for the students is a unit called Myth and Mayhem. So we're delving into concepts, cross-cultural concepts of myth right now, and Miss Person's doing likewise. And so our collaborative efforts are enhancing the learning, where my focus tends to be on, okay, we're going to explore the essential questions behind myth and the cultural and implications. She's coming in with a really strong reinforcement of some of the language and composition skills as well. So we're finding that reinforcement and that teaming between the APs is making for a greater depth of learning between the students. And so again, the greater implication with the AP and the teaming that we're trying to broaden in our program is that the learning's not compartmentalized, that the learning is becoming across disciplines and reinforced across different. And I'm going to turn it over to Emma and Kendra, and they're going to talk to you a little bit about what they're doing in Miss Persons.
So currently in Miss Persons and Miss Rubino's, what's perfect is for the Braiding Sweetgrass, just to start with, they're both showing us the same like stimulus book. So I'm able to like read that and then take two different messages from that book. So I'm looking at the book not only from like just reading it and trying to get the overall message, I'm looking at it to see the lenses, the perspectives, the themes, like how could I make this relate to the real world? How can I make this like a question? How can I make this a research topic? Like that is what I'm looking for, looking through it through Miss Rubino. And looking at it through Miss Person, I'm looking at the argument of the book, the rhetoric. Like, I've never done that in any other English class. Like, yes, what is the gist of the book? What does it want you to understand? But I'm looking at, like, what is it trying to get me to think? And I think that's really creative. And here we have pictures of our rhetorical notebooks. So we each had to kind of pick a topic to, like, make questions about. I made about 10. How many did you make?
I had about 12, I think.
Yeah, so we each like made questions about a specific topic, and we placed these notebooks out into like all sorts of different places depending on your topic. Mine currently is in a nail salon, so it's really easy for me to go get it every 3 weeks or check up on it because, you know, got to get the nails done. But people are supposed to put their own like thoughts and ideas into the book by answering the questions. And I'm supposed to, at the end of this, make a presentation on like people's general opinion and argument on my overall like book. Like I just thought that was really creative.
Yeah, so my book is about my main topic is imagination. So I have different topics about that. It's currently in the Moyoc Public Library, so I go in there every once in a while and get a book, check on it. But it's really cool to see different perspectives. It creates kind of like a conversation in our community about different topics. And I think it's just really interesting to see and the arguments that form.
And that's all of our books there. You can see the variety of the topics, and not only did we have to make the message personal to us, we had to reflect that on the notebook. When we made the topic, we had to write why we wanted to do this. Like, what were we trying to get out of putting this message out there, like this topic out there, and why we were trying to get answers of this question. And I just thought that was really, I'd never done anything like that before. Like, this is so personal to us, and it's so tailored to each student.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's really interesting to see how different people have different ideas that they came up with. As you can see, there's personal style performing arts based off of the different people and seeing all the conversations it can form.
And that's them being placed out there in the wild for people to answer. We did ask all of the people to please keep an eye on it so nobody would take it, but people have been answering them. They've been answering these questions, and what's also unique is to see how they went about answering the questions. Because in my prompt, I wrote, you only have to answer 1 or 2 of the questions. You don't have to answer all 10. That's a lot. That's like a quiz. But a lot of people did end up answering all of the questions. So there's a lot of engagement in the community, and being able to see all of that engagement is really just inspiring to me.
Yeah. And by arguments, it's not fighting or anything. It's just different, you're seeing different statements from different types of people, which of course will be important for when we do our paper in the spring semester about the different things that people have said and all that.
Yep. And one last thing I want to add is we are not putting our personal preference into this topic. On my questions, my answers, they're useless. I'm taking what other people are saying and I'm trying to generate something from that. So that's also really interesting to me.
Okay, so as a research student, we come into the class already having the backbone skills from AP Seminar, and having second bell with both AP Seminar and AP Research, I'm allowed to help the seminar kids because I already know what the College Board graders want. So starting the year off, we start with 2 big topics, very broad, and as the year goes on, we become more narrow and more specific. We conduct an independent research on a feasible topic, specifically a gap that we find in the scholarly body of knowledge that hasn't been explored or addressed. There, we develop a unique and specific research question, and we find other sources and studies that can help guide our research and relate to our topic. Then we have to develop our research methods and explore how we collect the data and information. We do this by surveys, interviews, experiments, and more. Lastly, we'll write a final research paper base that includes all of our findings and information, as well as make a PowerPoint, which we present to Ms. Rubino. All this information is then analyzed and scored by College Board.
So I just wanted to continue with the AP Research class. So when we talk about AP Research, a lot of people think that we're taking, I guess, topics and information that has already been studied. But as AP Research students, we are doing the research ourselves. So we take a topic, but we kind of lead to a gap in the research. And when we talk about a gap, we're talking about, things that people have not, I guess, obviously research, but we're trying to find new findings, and doing this, it helps benefit local communities. So for example, with my research topic, there's a huge problem in schools with nicotine. So I'm planning to do a survey that asks students what they think about drug testing and how, that kind of impacts extracurricular activities and that sort of thing. And on the screen, you can kind of see an example of the top of my survey and a little bit about what my goal is. So this, obviously, nicotine and extracurricular activities have been researched, but not specifically in this area. So I think it's beneficial that AP Research is in schools so that students understand how to develop their own research tactics.
So, AP Research isn't just a class that's useful for high school. I mean, you can take it anywhere in life. You go to college, you have citation skills, you know how to see credible sources and what's not credible, and you can research anything. You can look online and find stuff to help you out, or you can now do your own research now that you've taken both AP Research and Seminar. Well, on top of that, it really helps build a community. I mean, peer review for me, I didn't know a lot of these people personally, but now peer review, I've gotten to know a lot of them better. And I know Miss Fields is my expert advisor, so she also helps me out a lot with my research, which is good. You always want to know teachers around the school. Miss Rubino, she's helped me out a lot. And I know expert advisors from all over the school. I know some of my fellow classmates have Mr. A as an expert advisor, Mr. Griffin. AP Research really helps build up a community around the school, which will help you for later in life with social skills, making friends wherever you go. I think I clicked one over.
Okay. So as a research class collectively, we also do kind of like a mini research project. So what our topic is this year is we're looking at kind of like student time for clubs. And I know in the past we've had power time, power hour, and currently we're working with club time, which is just a 25-minute period every other Friday. So I really don't think that's personally beneficial for students to be in all the clubs that they need to be. But so we're just looking for student input, whether they agree with what's done or what's not. And, you know, we're doing our own research, like I said previously, about issues in our own school. So I think it's very beneficial that we do this collectively as a class, and also that we're putting our own research and our own thoughts, and also other students, teachers, administrators' perspectives into it as well.
All of these AP classes that were previously mentioned are very important to your education, but I feel like AP Art really gets looked over. In the school, there's only 2 kids taking AP Art this year, but it's very beneficial as you get to take everything you learn and you have to apply it differently. You are not writing a paper on it, but instead you have to visually make your statement come across in these artworks. So with this process, I start off by making my guiding question, and then I have to make even more miniature guiding questions within this guiding question and conduct research individually. And so I start off with my research. So for this specific art piece, I started off by looking at the history behind women wearing makeup and how society formed us into why we wear it. And then I have to make a sketch or a concept map in order to get my thoughts across, and then an even more detailed sketch in order to come across with my final piece of artwork that you see at the very end. And as all of this comes together, you have to create a flow into it and to apply your educational in order to apply to the greater education. This was a very great opportunity, and I feel like a lot more students should use this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that was a little lengthy, but we've got so much going on with AP at the high school, and these kids are just amazing, and they're very excited about what they're doing, and we so appreciate everybody's time and letting you tell us what's going on with the great AP community. And of course, it only scratches the surface with AP Bio, AP Statistics, APUSH. So many fantastic things are going on, and as instructors, we're collaborating, talking about the needs of our student and how we can really address them, and we're hoping to come together as a greater community and keep expanding. So thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We hope you all have a great night. Thank you.
And I know we all would like to make comments.
Yes,
Who would
whoever
like to go
wants
first?
start, whoever.
I appreciate all of you coming up, and you are correct. All of these different tools will help for whatever you do, whether you're into go employ, enlist, or enroll. So great job to all of our students, and I know we're always proud of them. So thank you all.
Ms. Parker.
Just thank you so much, and thank you to Ms. Rubino and the AP staff and Dr. Durham and his staff. This program is incredible. It is absolutely incredible that our children have an opportunity to be able to be challenged in this way. We say we want to enroll, enlist, employ, and we need to make sure we have opportunities for all of our students, and these are our best and brightest, and they deserve to be challenged, and this is what this program does, and it's incredible. One thing I do think is important that the community knows that most people don't know, and I can say as a parent, this is my second child that's gone through this program that I didn't know, it also ties perfectly with dual enrollment. And a lot of parents don't know that. They think that they have to go a dual enrollment route or an AP capstone route. And the beauty of it is AP capstone is seen internationally as the most challenging curriculum a student can take. So when we want our children to be able to compete at the Harvards and the University of North Carolinas, they need to be in AP capstone. But they can also be dual enrolled. And the interesting thing about that is that when a student then gets a 3 or a 4 on an AP exam, that then becomes a college credit through COA. And a lot of parents don't know that. I've just, and Riley will kill me for bringing her up, but I just found this out this week with Riley. She got several college credits. AP Biology transferred to Biology at COA. AP Chem transfers to Chem at COA. So I just want to make sure our parents in the community know this. This is a way that your child can do both. They can get the rigor that they want, and that rigor is through capstone. But then we get this great financial benefit of our child getting college credit, and they can do both. So again, thank you to the teachers and the staff, the work that you put in with these children. I taught a lot of things. I was once asked to teach AP when I was a high school teacher, and I said, no, thank you. Because it's unbelievable the prep that they have to do to keep these little people busy, because they're smart cookies. And there's a lot of prep that goes into that, so thank you.
Mr. Banks?
It's very impressive to hear y'all speak about what you've been learning. It's definitely going to help you out, especially if you go to college and you go on a little bit further and work on your doctorate, and work on your thesis. I heard a lot of that, the way y'all are articulating what you're doing, how you're doing the research and everything. Is really going to help you out in the future.
Ms. Kraft?
Well, I echo everything that my fellow board members said, but one of the things that really impressed me is the fact that y'all are aware of how important your teachers are to you, and you give them credit, and that's not always the case with young people. So I just, I admire what you're doing, but I also admire your heart. Thank you.
Well, I loved all of it. I was impressed with each of you that spoke, and I heard a lot of language that reminded me of national boards. So I know you're doing that higher level of thinking. And of course, Ms. Rubino, you all know how fortunate you are to have her as your teacher. She's kind of amazing. And I know you all are going big places. And I like what Dr. Durham said, that we had such a large percentage of you that scored high enough on your exam to get college credit. And so that's like a double whammy there. You're learning, you're getting a college credit, you're saving your folks money. So hats off to all of you. Dr. Lutz?
I always get a kick out of seeing students that were like half your size when I had you as a principal, and you're all grown up now. And I like the word that Mr. Banks used, articulation. Your verbiage and the way you spoke
unreal.
was so impressive, each and every one of you. That's a testament to yourselves, your parents, and your teachers. And I'm proud that we offer this program in Currituck County Schools. It will benefit you greatly moving forward. So thank you for stepping up to the challenge and embracing really tough work that you can't shy away from. It's probably the hardest you've ever had to work, and that's a great thing for you. So very proud of you. Thank you.
And I love the word you use, community. You build the community. Communities are important all through your life. That's wonderful. Okay, and we'll move on to recognition of staff. Dr. Lutz?
We get a couple recognitions this evening. The person I'm about to recognize is going to receive some very well-deserved recognition. Miss Sandy Reynolds, before I go into the formal part of this, she is really the first person that I connected with before coming to Currituck County. She has always been a leader in technology, a leader in education. The first time that we really met, she had a group of students that, was that a Zoom, Google Meet, something I had never heard of. But we got it to work on the computer, and I got to meet kids from the 5th grade class at Charborough that I was going to come and be their principal, the upcoming. And so Sandy and I have, she's always been a wonderful supporter of Currituck County Schools. She's a wonderful support of me personally, and so thank you. So I am so excited to announce to everyone that we get to recognize Miss Sandy Reynolds, Currituck County Schools Chief Information Office. Over winter break, we learned that Ms. Reynolds was named the 2024 North Carolina Northeast Regional Technology Director of the Year. The winning directors were selected, I think this is so important, by their peers in the region for making a significant impact on transforming student learning through the integration of technology. She and the other 7 regional candidates from across the state will be recognized at the annual State Technology Directors Meeting, NC TIES Conference in March, and NCDPI will announce the State Technology Director of the Year at that time as well. Currituck County Schools is honored to have Ms. Reynolds represent the Northeast region moving forward. She is a passionate educator, and her leadership is an inspiration. At this time, we invite Ms. Reynolds and her family up for photographs. Thank you, Ms. Reynolds, for all you do for our district. Do pictures with family, and then we can come up and get a picture as well.
Okay. Congratulations, Ms. Reynolds.
Well deserved, well deserved.
The board would come up.
Okay.
Picture with Sandy. I'll keep your flowers. All right.
Okay.
We'll stand the same way.
Too close, I feel like I'm getting a cold.
Mr. Banks, I'm missing you just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, Sandy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do. Okay.
Too many of one. Okay.
And next, we will have recognition of our National Board of Education Month. Dr. Lutz.
At this time, we would like to recognize our board members, as January is School Board Appreciation Month in North Carolina. Mr. Jason Banks, Mr. Juan Kraft, Ms. Kelly Williams-Peters, Ms. Janet Rose, and Mrs. Dana Parker. On behalf of Currituck County Schools, we extend our sincere gratitude to each of you for your commitment and dedication to our students and community. As part of this recognition, we would also like to thank our student board members, Sophia O'Shear and Scarlett Stalitz. We are honored to have you as part of the board and appreciate your valuable input and participation. At this time, we'd like to present each of you with a small gift.
Thank you very much.
Your job is often a thankless job. It takes courage to take leadership roles in any community. The school board is it takes a special person to serve the public and serve in this role, and I appreciate this board, and I think you do wonderful things for this community. I thank you. At the end of the meeting, we're going to get a picture together and go from there. Again, we thank you to your service to Currituck County Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Lutz, and I'm sure I echo everyone's sentiments, and it is quite an honor to serve for the children of Currituck.
Absolutely.
Next, we need an approval of our agenda. Do I have a motion that we approve the agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda is approved. Work session review. Dr. Lutz?
We had a really robust work session late in the afternoon. We went over the audit report in great detail, and we're going to hear more about that here in a few minutes. We introduced we had our first discussion around redistricting and our outline and our timeline. And again, we're going to be moving forward with redistricting with the opening of new elementary schools. It's time to do those things, and we are trying to work well ahead of the curve. We also had an update from our Human Resources Director, Angel Lasher, speaking about retention in particular and what we're doing to keep the best employees here. And we also had started a discussion around Policy 2115 around unexpired term fulfillment with Mrs. Rose running for the Board of Commissioners. It certainly is time to have that discussion, and the board was open to putting some greater guidelines around the current policy.
Could you please go back and elaborate a little bit on, you talked about redistricting. Could you also give us an update on construction?
Yes, so at this point in time in construction, we normally have a formal presentation. We are still only working at the groundwork level, and there are some issues that the county is currently working through, and all indications are things are moving behind the scenes, and hopefully I have a robust construction update for the board in February.
And at this point, we are on schedule for August of '25 opening.
At this time, we are still, according to what I've been told, we are still on schedule. It will be tight, but we are on schedule for August of '25.
Okay. Public comment session. Did we have anyone sign up? Okay. We'll move on to our student board member report. Scarlett.
Thank you. So first I'm going to start with Central Elementary School. The Central Elementary Eagles will hold their first PBIS celebration the last week of January. They have done an excellent job springing into new heights. On February 8th, Central Elementary will host the first semester award ceremony to celebrate our students and recognize their hard work and dedication to educate. Thank you to all of our community for their continued support as we inspire excellence in every student. Next will be Currituck County High. Congrats to Thomas Andrakovics, who was announced as a Moorhead Kane 2024 Impact Educator. Congrats to Anita Rubino on her selection as the Northeast Region Teacher of the Year. Best of luck to Miss Rubino as she competes for the state title. Congrats to Riley Parker, who has been named a finalist for the Moorhead Kane Scholarship. Next is Currituck County Middle. Student-led conferences are happening this evening. Students are prepared to share their learner profiles with their parents. Parents will have an opportunity to see examples of their students' work and hear from their students about their academic progress and growth. Upcoming events are a dance on February 9th, academic award celebration is on February 16th, and beta inductions are also on February 16th. Next will be Griggs Elementary. First semester awards assembly will be held on January 30th. Everyone is welcome to come celebrate our students and their accomplishments. Student council members are busy preparing their speeches to assist with the awards ceremony. Our next Title I virtual workshop will be on January 25th, and Family Fitness Bingo Night will be February 22nd. Next will be JP Knapp Early College. JP Knapp held their fall academic award ceremony where 93 students were recognized with over 157 awards. 33 of Ms. Benner's English 2 classes have been recognized as newly published authors. Their work will soon be out in the Hunted Anthology. 140 prospective students came for open house on January 16th. The application window for the 2024-25 school year officially closes tonight at midnight.
Next will be Jarvisburg Elementary. Our first semester award ceremony will be held on February 1st. Thanks to our PTA, JAGS is providing our entire student body with an assembly featuring OBX Lizardland on February 9th. And for Knott's Island Elementary, Knott's Island will host the world's premiere of A Nashville Wish this Friday night on the 19th at 6 p.m. All families are welcome. Knott's Island Elementary will soon be sending out invitations for our first award ceremony to be held in early February. Life is good on the island. Next will be Moyock Elementary. PBIS Incentive Day will be held this Friday on the 19th. Students will be treated to a magic show by an authentic magician during their specials time. Our first semester award ceremony will be held on February 7th, and our 100th day of school celebration will be on February 15th, as long as there are no snow days between now and then. Next will be Moyock Middle. As we prepare for the end of the first semester, we have a student incentive planned next week that aims to motivate students and make good choices both academically and behaviorally. Students will earn their ticket to a special celebration during electives. Our Bulldog Ambassador student leaders are welcoming our newest students with welcome tours and lunch buddies to make sure they get off to a great start. We are all proud of our MMS Bulldogs. Next is Shawboro Elementary. Shawboro Elementary is looking forward to celebrating student achievement during our first semester awards program on February 7th. We will also be hosting a family night bingo on January 25th. Tickets are required, so purchase yours now. And that's all.
Well, Scarlett, you had a lot to report on, and you did a fabulous job. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, we have the audit report. Mr. Adam? Because I can't pronounce his last name. Because I can't pronounce your last name.
That's fine. My name is Adam Sapirk. I'm a partner with Anderson Smith White, your external auditors. And I will say, as a member of a under-researched and interest gap, the tools that your students were discussing earlier are part of and go along with the same things we do in conducting the audit. It is about data management, data research, and manipulating and understanding evidence to basically issue an opinion. And so at the end of the day, the financial statements presented to you, we believe are accurate, and we have letters within these statements that I wanted to point out, along with some of the key data points, the fund balance numbers essentially across your governmental funds that I wanted to go over this evening here. So in the balanced set of financial statements, page 1, again, the purpose of the audit is to place our opinion and give our opinion that's to the accuracy of the financial statements. Page 1 is a clean, unmodified opinion letter that states that we believe that these financial statements accurately reflect the net position and the fund balance of Currituck County Schools as of June 30, 2023. Your fund balance numbers are found on page 14, Exhibit 3. You have 6 governmental funds and 1 business type fund. Your governmental funds house your fund balance that is available for appropriating in future years. Your general fund has $1,851,000 of fund balance, and that's an increase of $71,000 from last year. Your other special revenue fund has $971,000 of fund balance, an increase of $156,000 from last year. And your capital outlay fund has $441,000, a decrease of $192,000 from last year. You also have $685,000 across all of your various schools in the form of local funds, school funds for field trips, athletics, revenue earned that way. For a grand total of $3,950,000 of governmental fund balance, again, available for spending in future years. In a year, when you look at excluding the individual schools across the general fund, other special revenue fund, and the capital outlay fund, you really broke even. It was a net change of about $20,000 across all those funds. meaning you essentially spent exactly what was allocated in the current year for the current year. So anytime a school system can break even, it's seen, I believe, as a good year. The last few years, there have been COVID-19 federal dollars received that have allowed districts to add to the fund balance numbers. And so where you're sitting at $3,950,000, I think is more fund balance than you've had in several years, but is by no means more fund balance than you know what to do with. So you're kind of in that just right area as far as when you look at your $76 million spent every year and how much you have left on hand. So on page 16 is the income statement for those same funds, and this shows those changes in fund balance. You have your revenues minus your expenditures equals that change in fund balance. Again, $76 million across. $76 million. Oh,
I'm sorry. I just wondered if the audience was seeing these pages you were talking about.
No, but we certainly can in future years upload, and we can use the screens and I can scroll through the pages to show those numbers.
Okay. We all have copies of this, those in the audience. If you would like to see what he's talking about afterwards, we'll happily share.
So again, the $76 million of revenue for all governmental funds, offset by $76 million of expenditures, again, for a pretty much net break-even year. There is one number that I wanted to point out. Your federal grants fund, while only being $3,397,000 of revenue and expenditures, that is including $1.3 million of COVID-19 funds that will be expiring in the next year or so. Your typical federal funds in that funds really run about $2 million. Any questions so far? Those are, again, your governmental funds. You also have one proprietary fund, a business type fund, and that is your school food service fund. On your financial statements, that is page 22 for the balance sheet for that fund. For this fund, I like to look at cash on hand rather than the net position. This being a business type fund, you actually record the value of kitchen equipment that you have purchased and are depreciating over time. You also decrease your net position by the allocated value of the retirement liability associated with people who are currently working or who have retired from the school system. Those all affect net position and fund balance, but they don't really give you a true indicator of how much of funds you have available. So while your net position is only $267,000 in that fund, you do have $956,000 of cash on hand available to spend on salaries and food costs. Now, that number of $956,000 of cash is a decrease of $189,000 from last year. This compares to actually adding over $1 million of cash in the 2022 year. At the end of the 2022 year, June 30, 2022, marked the end of the COVID-19 summer feeding program in which all students ate for free. All students ate for free at a higher reimbursement rate that saw higher participation, higher revenues, higher sales, and going back to the business of usual, having to do free and reduced applications, students having to pay for meals, it did result in a decrease in participation, which resulted in a decrease in revenue on top of inflationary pressures for food costs. So you served far fewer meals to the tune of $750,000 less of revenue, but your food cost only went down $80,000. So that just is a function of rising food cost. You also have salaries and benefits out of that fund, which is a significant expenditure in that fund. And those costs, despite having lower participation, increased. And that's just, again, a function of inflation, a function of salary rates going up, all contributing to going from adding $1 million in the previous year to using $189,000 in the current year. This school system is used to operating in the red in the Child Nutrition Fund because being a Tier 3 school, you do have so many students that are required to pay for meals, and so participation lags. And you can see the difference when all kids can eat for free, just how much participation goes up. But this past few years, under that COVID-19 program, it allowed you to recuperate cash. You've been really almost broke in that fund for years, but the last few years you were able to get your cash on hand up to about $1.2 million. And now if you use it at $200,000 a year, you essentially bought yourself a couple years of operations before you have to worry about funding the child nutrition program with local dollars. So page 1 was our opinion letter over the financial statements. Page 63 are the other letters found within the financial statements. There are 3 letters that begin on page 3. One is an opinion over internal controls, and we noted no deficiencies, no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in your internal control structure over both financial reporting and compliance. We also conduct a compliance audit, making sure you're spending federal and state dollars in under the requirements of each of the respective federal or state programs. Letter number 2 states that we found no question costs, no exceptions to compliance requirements under federal dollars. And letter number 3, we found no exceptions or question costs on how you spent state dollars. So again, all 4 letters, all 4 opinion letters found within this booklet are clean, unmodified opinions. And again, you have, I think, in summary, a break-even year, which in terms of government and school finance is a good year. And then your child nutrition fund going back to a cash deficit or a using of cash status. So do you have any questions about any of the information we went over either in the work session or here?
Anyone?
We spent a good amount of
Yes.
time with you and questions when we were in the work session, so.
Again, we thank you.
Yeah.
And this audit is a positive audit and a clear reflection on the fine job that our finance staff does.
Yep. No, it absolutely doesn't happen without good staff. Our audit, it takes over 250 hours of time. We request hundreds of invoices and paychecks and reports. We issue questionnaires. We request documents, applications for federal grants. It is a volume of information that we request that we appreciate having available when we arrive. It makes for a more efficient audit, and Susan and her staff are very keen on providing that information to us in the way we ask for it and in a timely manner. So it definitely helps get us through all that information, all that evidence, and then again, writing a 76-page document that shows all of the required financial data for your school system for the year.
And thank you for listening to our students and then putting into perspective how all of that can be used in your real world profession.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You take that same questionnaire out of the nail salon and put it in a put it in a tax office, and you'll have a research paper. You don't even have to go all the way to get a PhD to do this job. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's an action item, isn't it?
That is an action item. So is there a motion that we approve the audit report as it was presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the audit report as it was presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, moving on to the star of the show, the budget amendments, Ms. Mazzell.
Good evening, Chairman Rose, fellow board members, and Dr. Lutz. This evening, for your approval, I have 3 budget amendments. First one starts with the State Public School Fund. This is budget amendment number 5 for the state. We had an increase here of $574,711. We received allotments for literacy intervention, exceptional children's special state reserve, behavioral support, CTE credential program, and school bus safety pilot. Next, we have our federal programs. This is budget amendment number 4 for the year. We had an increase of $32,319.70. We had budget revisions for the CTE program improvement, Title I, Title II, Title III, and ESSER III Summer Career Accelerator Program. And then lastly, we have our other local funds. There's an increase here of $43,846.20. We budgeted for Chromebook fees, Medicaid fee-for-service reimbursement, sub-reimbursement from DPI, NC Arts Council grant, our second allotment of local foods for schools, as well as new finance HR software program.
Okay.
Any questions?
If there are no questions, do we have a motion to approve these budget amendments as presented by Susan Mazzell?
I make a motion that we approve the budget amendments.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No opposed? Okay. We will move on to Dr. Lute's nomination for North Carolina School Board Association Board of Directors.
This was on here in the past, Ms. Rose, you had sought a
Expressed an
nomination, but you have actually, I don't know, unless there was someone here with an interest in serving on the NC School Boards Association, I don't believe we need to take action on this item.
I serve on a committee with the North Carolina School Board Association, and it's been very interesting. This is another step that works with the legislative process.
Thank you for your involvement at that level.
So we have no interest? We don't need to take action on that?
Not this year.
Not this year. Okay. Next, we have the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And informational items. We have a Board of Education meeting coming up, beginning with a work session at the PLC at Knapp, February 15th, 2024, beginning at 4 p.m., followed by a meeting here at the Historic Courthouse at 6:30. And now we'll move on to board member and superintendent comments. We'll start with you, Mr. Banks.
I'd just like to thank everybody that supports, not just the board, but Dr. Lutz and Renee that actually work at the central office. Every one of us on this board could be, at this table, could be replaced tomorrow, but some of y'all could not be replaced. And I just want to just acknowledge y'all, and I thank you, and I do, and we all notice your hard work. I just want to acknowledge you.
Okay, Ms. Kraft.
Yes. So I went to the holiday concert, gosh, that seems like 100 years ago, at Moyock Middle School. Great talent. I even had a surprise encounter with the Grinch at Central Elementary School. Pictures to come later. I went to the awards, semester awards ceremony at JP Knapp last week, and congratulations to all those students. So I went to school, high school, in the 60s. And the other day when I was at the awards ceremony, the first student that was called up, I looked, and then I looked again, and then I was sitting next to Dr. Lutz, and I kind of nudged him, and I said, I had that same haircut. So I just have to say that, everything new is old. Everything, everything old is new again. So I am so grateful for all of you high school students, that your determination and that you are just so well past what I feel like I was when I was in high school. But again, and you heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again, I'm impressed with your admiration and realization of the amazing educators that teach at your school, and also to all of our teachers here in Currituck, because just those high school teachers are not the ones that got you here. So I'm just really, I'm proud to serve on this board for these great teachers and administrators that we have here. And then I want to say another special congratulations to Ms. Reynolds for being chosen as the Northeastern Region Technology Director. And I was really excited to see Jordan, who was one of my fourth grade students. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Peters?
So I attended basketball games at the high school and both of our middle schools this past month. And I just I told Dr. Lutz, our principals, and vice principals, they're there at all those games. They work long days. I just wanted to thank all of them for all that they do. I know that the first semester's coming to an end soon, so good luck on the exams coming up. And as far as the semester ending, spring's going to be here before we know it. So I just encourage our seniors to start looking out for scholarships. They'll start coming out and they'll be pushed through. And sometimes they have really early deadlines, so we encourage them to look for those. January 9th was Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. We appreciate our Currituck County Sheriff's Office. Thank them for all they do and in our schools. And yes, of course, congratulations to Ms. Reynolds and Ms. Rubino. It certainly makes us proud, and thank you for all your work. And finally, good luck to both of our middle schools. They're competing in state cheer competitions this weekend. So good luck to them.
Okay. Ms. Parker?
Thank you to the parents that reached out to me this past month. As always, I appreciate your concerns. Those concerns show your commitment to your child's education. And I'm thankful that you understand that you always appreciate the answer that I give you, which is work at the school level. And every time you work at the school level, you strengthen our school system. So I thank you when you call and you're upset and you allow me to listen, and then you allow me to say, I need you to work at the school level. And I'm seeing it across the district. Our schools are doing well, our principals are communicating, and just parents continue to be involved. We're very thankful for that. Also, just thank you again to Susan Mizell and the finance office staff. The work you and your staff do is nothing short of incredible. Earlier in the work session, Mr. Sapurk summed it up, I thought, very nicely by saying the work requires nonstop attention to detail. And I don't know, as average citizens, if we really understand school funding and how those pots of money work and how this can be used for this, but it can't be used for that. And the detail that they do for us to be able to get this kind of audit, just thank you. Your work does not go unnoticed. And then lastly, and most importantly, thank you to our staff. Thank you for choosing Currituck County Schools. It is no secret that you could go work somewhere else, and you continue to work for us. And I think what we're going to have to start doing as parents and members of the community is we're going to have to start demanding that we place an importance on public education. And the time has come for us to do that. We can no longer say, thanks for teaching here, but by the way, you can't afford a house to live in. They deserve to be able to live in a nice home. They deserve to be able to support their children, and they deserve to make more than $40,000 a year. So I invite other parents and members of the community to join with me. I will be going to a county commissioners meeting as an ordinary citizen that we're going to have to do something differently. And I don't know that I have the answers, but we're a smart group of people. And as a community, our community is known as a great place to live because we have great schools. And you're not going to continue to have great schools if you can't recruit great educators. And anyone that knows anything about public education knows that the quality of a child's education is based, most importantly, on the educator that stands in the front of the room. And when you cannot recruit them, then we cannot complain about the scores that we're getting. Our teachers are doing all they can. They're trying to fill gaps. Our principals are trying to fill gaps where we can't find teachers. We can't be upset with the grandmother who's covering Math 1 who can't get good scores. She didn't go to school to do it. So I challenge the community for us to do better. We have to do better. I thank the teachers and the staff again for choosing to work in a state where you are not valued. But I'm going to tell you, this is my mission for 2024. I know this board values you, and I'm just no longer going to sit silent. We have to do better for our educators.
Okay. Well, it was busy around the holidays. I did leave the last board meeting. I'm sorry, I was going to let you go after me, but you go on. See, I don't know this order yet. You go.
No, you always
No,
have the
you
last
go.
one. Okay. Well, that would change things up. We've been doing things the same way for a
You
while.
get the last word. Thank you, Dewan.
Board Chair. Happy New Year, everyone. We are now in 2024. I spent the first part of it not feeling so good, so it feels good to have entered the new year. I want to give an update on Cognia and our accreditation. We are on target to have everything submitted February 1st. Virginia Arrington has done a fabulous job leading that work. We'll do a presentation to the board sometime in the upcoming months. I will say that getting accredited when you have been doing the work for the past several years is a whole lot easier when you can go to documents from the work that actually is done. And so, again, I am glad we are moving forward that process and things are rolling. Special Olympics, we have a great event February 9th at the high school, at Currituck County High School. Starts at 10 o'clock. It is a wonderful time if you can find a way to get there and just if it fills your bucket. So please try to do that. I mentioned the construction update earlier. Again, Susan, Mizell, and your staff, thank you for a clean audit. And the Board of Education, this is Board Appreciation Month, and I appreciate your service to our community, and I appreciate working with you. Thank you.
Okay, now it's my turn.
It's your turn.
So I left the last board meeting and rushed to Knott's Island to see Three Coast and a Jock. It was a fabulous play that they put on, so hats off to those kids. I was able to attend a basketball game at the high school, and the Knights prevailed. Little bit of nerve-wracking that night that I was there, but they did pull it off. I do want to give a big shout out to Dr. Durham and his staff. I don't know how they put the hours in, but they seem to be everywhere all hours of the day. So thank you. We appreciate what you do for our students. I did go down to visit Jarvisburg in December and saw the magical transformation that they had made. It was a learning experience for all the students. It was great. I attended a band performance at Moyock Middle School, and that band, that teacher has carried them so far. You know, as I've seen the last couple of performances, they did a fabulous job, amazing. And I want to give a shout out to a couple of students we have here tonight. One is Will Currituck, who I've heard is the recipient of a Teaching Fellows Scholarship at NC State.
Yay.
What an honor.
Good job.
And what a great opportunity. Congratulations. And I'd also like to recognize one of my former students, Miss Riley Parker, who I understand is in the running for the Moorhead Kane Scholarship, which just to be nominated is quite an honor, and we wish you the best with that, Riley. And with that being said, do I have a motion that we adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.